So I guess for a while, and I have some witnesses to this, I do various things, but I guess reclaiming the language as a lunacy is kind of part of what I do. And I guess, for me, there's all that top-down stuff, and it's not just about mental health madness and something, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty sure most of us in this room have been labelled, categorised, pigeonholed, stuck in boxes and the rest of it, probably for a hell of a long time, and it's going on and on and on and on and on. Do we have anyone who's just mentally done in? That was a category back in the 1940s, but specifically for American housewives. And the cure was speed. The drug company, that was legal speed. The drug companies legally sold them speed back then for the mentally done in. Severity psychotic remission. You can have atypical features. You can write your own one. I've got a marker pen. It might be more accurate and useful than the rest of this. Got this in an art gallery. Tyneside. It is so I don't lose my marbles. I left that sound up the microphone. I find that sound quite soothing. Like I said, for me, words are the first battleground. It's the only thing that's kept us going. Writing changes lives, slowly, one by one. Where I'm at now, far cry from that autumn I ended intensive care of psych hospital. Staff grudgingly allowed me to write scraps, an attempt to keep hold of recent events, provided I had taken medication, sat at a specific seat in secure unit's main room, at set times, supervised, and no one else kicking off.
Sean is an interesting artist in that he uses a lot of different mediums in order to create his work. So he's a filmmaker, a photographer, a performance artist, a poet, and he draws from a lot of his experience with mental distress. He's working closely with the Mental Health Museum here, and we're working closely with them. They have I think there are 2 intact padded cells in the UK from the Victorian era, and one of them is here in Wakefield. And Sean was very interested in that artefact, and that sort of has influenced some of the work that he's producing. So he designed something called the Unreliable Narrator Tour, where he got to work with 10 other artists that have an experience of mental distress or mental illness. And we all went up to the Mental Health Museum, and they are also producing work in response to Sean's work that is coming from the artefacts and the story around the Mental Health Museum. He's doing his residency in 2 parts. So he did 2 weeks in April, and he's doing 2 weeks in July. And that's given him time in between to then go away and really think about what elements he's going to use in the space as part of his exhibition at the end.
Has anyone not? Please feel free to pop. Anyone here feeling Amazonian? Anyone? No one? No one feeling Amazonian? Here's a box for thinking outside of. This box, I reckon we could think outside of, yeah? Who wants this feather? Anyone? Anything like that?
I think it was really important for Gobscure to be able to be in a central place and have his own studio for 4 weeks, because what that meant then was that he was able to create work and realise some of his visions within a space that was connected to the space that he would actually be exhibiting in. So he had a chance to really understand how his work might present itself within this gallery space, and develop some of the ideas that he'd been working on specifically for the exhibition. It also meant that he was able to really have a better understanding or a broader understanding of Wakefield, and he incorporated a lot of Wakefield stories within the exhibition and the work. And he kind of decided that he was going to create a new narrative for Wakefield, which is also connected to his interest in the Mental Health Museum, and their history and the padded cell, and the work that the curators have done to incorporate the voices of the patients and the physicians and the staff of the hospital in the museum. The exhibition centres around Sean's interest in thinking outside of boxes and breaking down barriers between mental health practitioners and mental health users, and the way in general people communicate with each other and perhaps perceive each other, and how language can affect that and can affect those communications or be misrepresented or misunderstood. So he likes to challenge people's ideas of correct language or incorrect language, correct boxes or situations and how to behave. I think that a lot of artists find themselves isolated in their creative practices, and when they get the opportunity to come to a residency like this, they're no longer isolated. They have access to staff and team and support, as well as space and equipment that they may not be able to have access to. So it's really important for an artist like Gobscure to have that opportunity.